I have a daughter who graduated from high school last year, and this is sort of a cop-out, but I feel like we dodged a bullet. AI wasn't much of a thing for most of her formative schooling, but it is now. Where does ChatGPT fit in middle school English? Does it at all? Because kids are using it. We asked for your experience, and then we got some thoughts. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Morja Wealth Management, serving the North Country for 3 generations. MorjaWM.com. Advisory services offered through Hightower Advisors LLC. Securities are offered through Hightower Securities LLC, member FINRA, SIPC. And Kinney Drugs, now accepting S3 Nations benefits and OTC Network Wellness benefit cards for eligible over-the-counter health items. Details at KinneyDrugs.com.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Tuesday, April 21st. First up, President Donald Trump is weighing in on North Country politics. In a post on Truth Social earlier today, Trump endorsed Republican Anthony Constantino in the race to represent New York's 21st congressional district. As Emily Russell reports, the endorsement conflicts with the wishes of North Country GOP leaders.
President Trump wrote on Truth Social earlier today that Anthony Constantino has, quote, my complete and total endorsement to be the next representative from New York's 21st congressional district. Constantino is a Republican from the Albany area. He's also the CEO of Sticker Mule, a company that makes custom hats, stickers, keychains, and more. His endorsement from the president comes 2 months ahead of the primaries, which are set for June 23rd. In the Republican primary, Constantino faces New York Assemblyman Robert Smullen, who has also aligned himself with Trump and described himself as the only, quote, Trump-appointed conservative in the race. After Trump endorsed Constantino, Smullen wrote in a statement that he has, quote, the utmost respect for Trump and supports the president's agenda. But Smullen claimed that Constantino, quote, is mentally unfit to serve in Congress. Smullen also claimed that Constantino's Sticker Mule business has profited off of anti-Trump merchandise. Smullen has been endorsed by the state's Republican and conservative parties, as well as 12 of the district's 15 county Republican committees. Earlier this month, he officially accepted the state Conservative Party's nomination, which means that Smullen is guaranteed that ballot line in November. Republicans are becoming increasingly concerned that the two candidates could split the party and the voters, potentially leading to a 3-way race that could benefit Democrats in what's still considered a solidly red district. Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, who has represented NY21 for more than a decade, has not endorsed either Republican candidate. With reporting help from Kara Chapman, I'm Emily Russell.
Over just the last few years, artificial intelligence tools like ChatGPT have become widely available. And as with anything technology, kids are early adopters. And that's having a big impact on education, both on how teachers teach and on how kids learn. A few months back, through NCPR's Texting Club, we asked for your thoughts on AI in education. Amy Feiereisel reports back on what we heard.
In November of 2022, ChatGPT was released to the public by OpenAI. At that time, Peter Crowley was student teaching in a high school in the Adirondacks. He says one of his colleagues introduced the tool to all their students.
Demonstrating how to use it, saying this is basically like what calculators were to math.
But just a few days later, Crowley says 3 of his students turned in essays that were confusing.
No typos or errors at all. It's like, wait a minute. It's also saying pretty much nothing. This is the week ChatGPT came out.
Those students had used ChatGPT to cheat. It was a seismic shift, a turning point. Suddenly, large language models were available to everyone for free. According to a study by the Pew Research Center, over half of teenagers in the U.S. today use artificial intelligence tools for help with their schoolwork. That's up from just 13% of students in 2023. Peter Crowley now teaches English for the St. Regis Falls Central School District. He says the small class sizes, he's got about 10 students per grade, help him detect the use of AI. But he tries to get students to buy into the idea that they should do all the work themselves.
It's use it or lose it. I mean, if you want to develop your thinking and keep it, you have to use it. You're fighting for your individuality at this point.
If Crowley is on one end of the spectrum, Jeremy Fish is on the other. Fish teaches electrical and computer engineering at Clarkson University. He says he's in the camp embracing AI.
Students have access to this amazing tool. It really is amazing. My view is my job is to ensure that they know how to responsibly use it.
He says the only way to do that is to have students interact with those tools. Fish says the way he teaches is naturally somewhat AI-proof. He uses what's called a flipped classroom model. His students watch lectures and read book sections at home, and they do homework in class.
So they work together in groups on problems in the classroom. They have to actually do the math on pencil and paper.
Fish noted the irony is that his students really hate the model, and he's trying to figure out how to change that.
The students hate it because they have to work harder, but they do better. They get better grades, right?
And that brings up one of the core issues when you start talking about artificial intelligence and education, which is that learning is hard. But that's kind of the point.
Just accepting something that AI has written for you does not develop criticality because they just take what they get.
Bryna Moskowitz is a retired educator who lives in Canton. She worries that when students use AI tools, they're not developing judgment, basic writing skills, or the ability to evaluate sources. Near the end of her career, she taught a course in logic at St. Lawrence University.
I had students who would try to prove A and then write a proof that was B, C, A, D. And they didn't get the idea that you can't use A to prove A. Nobody had trained them in how to think logically.
Logical thinking is not an innate ability, says Moskowitz. Far from it. Like all skills, it takes practice. That's why Joe Lawrence, a parent of 3 kids in Lowville, has mixed feelings about AI. One of his children has learning disabilities, and a few semesters back, his school offered AI tools as an option.
There are programs that can be loaded onto the Chromebook, like talk to text or reading passages off of the computer to him.
Lawrence says he was really conflicted. While he didn't want his son to be unnecessarily hindered, he also worried about his child becoming dependent.
I mean, I guess you could argue that these tools are probably going to be available, so it's okay to have some reliance on them. But I guess I just had an uneasy feeling about these becoming something that he was totally reliant on and wasn't still working on developing those skills in other ways.
But of course, artificial intelligence isn't just for kids. Teachers are using these tools too. According to data from the EdWeek Research Center, about 60% of teachers say they're using AI-driven tools in their work in some capacity. School districts are seeking those tools out and paying for them. In the Lake Placid Central School District, teachers have access to a service called Brisk.
And it can help by creating lesson plans and teaching materials, do grading. It'll write emails or summaries.
That's Vicki Kirchner, a speech-language pathologist at Lake Placid's elementary school. She uses large language models to create individualized lesson plans for her students, turning a task that used to take hours into one that now takes minutes.
It's a lifesaver for me because I am in the special ed department, so I'm dealing with all different levels. As far as speech sound production, I can say I need a paragraph written at a 3rd grade level that focuses on the correct production of R.
She says having AI create lesson plans frees her up for more quality time with her students. I asked Kirchner if the use of these tools would mean fewer language pathologists like her in the future. She said no.
It can't do our job for us, but it can make it easier.
In the end, that's the great promise of AI, that it makes things easier. But the jury's out on what's lost when you get rid of all the hard parts. Amy Feiereisel, North Country Public Radio.
NCPR's journalism isn't just seeking out the obvious experts, the talking heads. We use our NCPR texting club to find people knee-deep in the issues who have firsthand lived experience. It's what makes our stories more nuanced and meaningful. This careful, considered, deeper local journalism matters to you. Please help pay for it with a donation right now during our spring fundraiser. We're doing this all now without federal funding. You're our safety net now. Let's build strong local journalism together. Become a sustaining donor right now at ncpr.org/give. Thank you so much. Music today by Lost in Beijing of Keene and Danny Thomas of Canton. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.